Hi YouTube, it's me again. I just did this, and I think I made one of the nicest faces I've done, and in the painting, and it's so tiny. I've seen some of you may have seen the short videos I made while I made it, and I'm so pleased with it. And it's have inspired me to do some more work that is not so big, because everything I do usually are so big, so huge, kind of a megalomaniac, I guess, or something. I don't know why, but I noticed that making it very small and intense was a good feeling, was a good flow, and I'm gonna do more of it. So I want to show you the face, especially that face. You can see the painting here. Probably will do some more touch up on the surroundings and stuff, but it's not much anyway. I think it looks quite well. And I really think this turned out to be something new. You see how thick the layers here? The same thing. Remember the texture. If you go to a museum, look at the brush strokes. Look at the brush strokes. That's where the secrets are. It's not in the motif. The motif is just an excuse for the artist to paint paintings. So it's the flow. It's the music. Yeah. I think funny. I hate digital camera. I used to, because it kind of interprets the colors, and that red spot there is not that red in reality, and the yellows aren't that yellow, and it's kind of more shiny. Digital is interpreting the surface and the colors. That's a problem, I think. I like that palette. Fun. So anyway, this is a video of the whole process. I made some smaller videos or shorter videos, but they will be incorporated in this bigger one. So yeah, okay. Yeah, so remember to share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Ask me anything. Go down underneath. There's links to my webpage and my Facebook and everything, and you can also add me as a friend, but only if you first send me a personal message and tell me who the hell you are, because I don't want to. I'm not adding people randomly, and if there's nothing on your no pictures, no information, I just don't add it. So it has to be a real person. Okay, thanks for watching, and stay cool, because I'm gonna take a short vacation from painting, like for one day. Hi, it's me again. I'm just starting on a new painting. As you see, I have my palette here. Just put up a clean one. My equipment, my brushes. What I'm going to do is to paint this over on this canvas. It's a small painting, and it's quite unusual for me to paint this small. So it's going to be fun, and it's also going to be a short video. So now the first thing I have to do is to get the thing right. So I always begin with a face or some object in the middle, and I let it I start here and let it just grow from that point. So I measure her head, and it's like 1, 2, and just a little. it's 1, 2, 3, and some more. It's always, I'm not trying to make photorealism. I'm just trying to use that as a, you see, I just place it here, approximately. Here's a ponytail, and I see a shoulder probably down here, arm comes over, green dress is there, and the feet is going out here somewhere. That is approximately how it is, and this shoulder is further up, and I guess right here, maybe up here. So what I do now is that I do like this, 1 and 2 and a little, so it has to be a little bit higher. Okay, and then I do 1, 2 and 3, and it might have to be a little bit bigger. This is basically how I start, like this, down here, and I want it to be a little bit bigger. Right here, comes down here, there's a little ear, and it's a profile, and then I start to just placing it. This is approximately right. It isn't totally. I don't use a projector or anything. That would be too easy. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it is okay, almost okay. So now she has dark skin, so I have to have a different tone. And her face, she has some white here. Her nose is like this, and goes in here, and the nose comes down here, goes up like this, cheekbones. She has beautiful face, and it's a very nice face. Down here, and like something like this. I just place it. And what I do then is I start to fill it out. Because what I do is to correct myself. I correct and correct and correct until I come closer and closer and closer to what I want to achieve. You just have to calm down and take your time. The sketch doesn't need to be perfect. For me anyway, it doesn't need to be perfect. If you aren't that skilled. So skilled, you might want to be more careful. Don't try to finish it in one go. Keep it open and keep molding. So I can also see that here, the eye is in here, like this, and her hair is like that, I guess. She has this beautiful green dress on, green yellow dress. That's why it's just going to be called Isolene with a yellow green dress. It comes around here somewhere, over there, and it goes now, yeah, it comes in here, approximately something like this. Let me see. That's why I'm using this brown canvas, because the light just comes right out. So, and then, as I have explained before, I use the background to explain the shape. Now I should be careful so I don't make this video 10 hours. My videos tend to be very long and it's not always my intention, but the thing is when to stop, it's not always easy. Yes, it is. Yeah. See how casual it all is in the beginning? When I was starting, I was more careful and I made sketches more. I was more careful, standing for hours and I'll do it totally correct, but now I like actually to adjust more as I go along, because it, as I told you before, gives the painting more texture, more overwork. It gives it more, becomes more painted. Anyway, I'm going to turn it off for a while. I'm gonna put it back on. There's also a palette behind that comes like up here. It's a big one that I use when I do big painting and big surfaces. And it comes behind right here. So yeah, that is, I can show you a little bit more. So it doesn't jump too much. Now, it goes in here, cheeks, nose, in like that. Yeah, here, down. You see, I'm kind of drawing, using the brush now as it was almost a charcoal. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You get the point. Okay. So you see, I have starting to give the face a little bit more character, and I still work on the face. I just started to do some of the background and stuff, but I prefer to stay with the face until it is at least becoming relatively correct when it comes to the anatomy and size on the canvas. It's quite nice to work so small, because it becomes quite intimate, and always to get the shadows right. different color, but the whole thing is kind of brownish, greenish, and of course bluish. There. And the top of the dress was actually over here. Now the face is going to be a little bit more out here, and it kind of comes down, goes in here. That's how it goes. So, and just keep working, bring in the shadows, shadow light, shadow light. Actually the canvas color are quite close to her skin color in this picture, but I prefer to paint over the canvas and not use it as a color, because it will give the painting a more fuller painted look and not all these sketch-like tricks that many painters use by letting the canvas stand. I don't care about tricks and stuff, so I really want it to be holistic. Maybe it's the wrong word. The hair comes down, and you see now she's starting to become a human being. Her nose is also rounder, but that is detail I have to keep on working on. So, and the chest. She has this longing expression. She's actually trained as a... She went to Norwegian School of Theatre. Her name is Iselin, and she's now doing painting and art. I really do think she picked up some from me. But anyway. So. She's kind of a little bit of a crazy girl that you can easily fall in love with. But it will be very dangerous. Beautiful, beautiful girl. So, okay, I guess you get the point.
This is the human test, a test to see if you are a human. Please raise your hand if something applies to you. Are we agreed? Yes? Then let's begin. Have you ever eaten a booger long past your childhood? It's okay, it's safe here. Have you ever made a small, weird sound when you remembered something embarrassing? Have you ever purposely lowercased the first letter of a text in order to come across as sad or disappointed? Okay. Have you ever ended a text with a period as a sign of aggression? Okay. Period. Have you ever laughed or smiled when someone said something shitty to you, and then spent the rest of the day wondering why you reacted that way? Yes. Have you ever seemed to lose your airplane ticket 1,000 times as you walked from the check-in to the gate? Yes. Have you ever put on a pair of pants and then much later realized that there was a loose sock smushed up against your thigh? Good. Have you ever tried to guess someone else's password so many times that it locked their account? Have you ever had a nagging feeling that one day you will be discovered as a fraud? Yes, it's safe here. Have you ever hoped that there was some ability you hadn't discovered yet, that you were just naturally great at? Have you ever broken something in real life and then found yourself looking for an undo button in real life? Have you ever misplaced your TED badge and then immediately started imagining what a 3-day Vancouver vacation might look like? Have you ever marveled at how someone you thought was so ordinary could suddenly become so beautiful? Have you ever stared at your phone smiling like an idiot while texting with someone? Have you ever subsequently texted that person the phrase, "I'm staring at the phone, smiling like an idiot"? Have you ever been tempted to and then gave in to the temptation of looking through someone else's phone? Have you ever had a conversation with yourself and then suddenly realized you're a real asshole to yourself? Has your phone ever run out of a battery in the middle of an argument, and it sort of felt like the phone was breaking up with both of you? Have you ever thought that working on an issue between you was futile because it should just be easier than this, or this is supposed to happen just naturally? Have you ever realized that very little in the long run just happens naturally? Have you ever woken up blissfully and suddenly been flooded by the awful remembrance that someone had left you? Have you ever lost the ability to imagine a future without a person that no longer was in your life? Have you ever looked back on that event with the sad smile of autumn and the realization that futures will happen regardless? Congratulations. You have now completed the test. You are all human.
Yeah, you see progress. Now, I think it's quite right here. Face is like, well, it's a good start anyway. 3, and goes 1, 2, 3. So it's a good start. And that is why I love oil paint so much, because you can always paint over and keep working. I actually made this palette a little bit too small, so I have to get it down here to the shoulder. Very vivid colors in these. The photos I'm working from became a little bit overexposed because I'm using this Pentax camera with tungsten film, slide film, and probably something with the, I forgot to, I don't remember exactly what happened, but it became a little overexposed, so when I work with them, the colors tend to be a little bit more vivid, a little bit colder, but I think it's nice. So, and yeah, there are also some yellows behind here. You can actually, when I'm finished, you can actually see how I put the colors in. Like the reds over here, there's an orange, and the cadmium yellow, the lemon yellow, and so on. There's also some cobalt in this one, which is kind of greenish in this photograph actually, so I have to mix it with Prussian blue. Yeah, okay. Now you see I just dip and I wash my brush so it's not too much color in it, and then when I paint the color from the last strokes actually comes into the paint by almost by accident, so it actually creates some natural mixing on the canvas. Yeah. Let's see now, it's coming down here. No, I'm coming in here. And I have to go up there. This. It's a pillow here with a lot of flowers in it. Actually, it's the same. That pillow in this painting is the same motif I have on my arm here. My mother actually sewed it for me to my bed, and I just tattooed the same motif on my shoulder. So that's that story. I did it just for fun, you know. Tattoos for me is just for fun. It doesn't really give you any more character or anything. It's just it's fun to do for a while. Character can only come from within, so by character. Okay, the feet. See, so now it's only sketching, so not so. Later I will start working more in directions. I'm going to go into detail, but right now I just want to get it onto the canvas. Here is the. That's always a problem, these shortenings of the limbs, because they tend to trick your brain to think it's shorter, or usually you think they are longer. It's very typical to exaggerate for us humans. Yeah, so you have to be careful with that. So there's a lot more. There's some darkness down here, and the arm becomes light again. There's a light source here. So it goes down like this, and up here there's the, maybe a little bit more down there. Must be a little bit longer, and boom. Here we are. And the pillow comes in here, and the arm is kind of falling into the pillow, so it kind of disappears down into the pillow. And behind here, because it's far further away, it's more bluish, and there is a, yeah, it's also kind of falls down into the pillow, which also means just to go a little bit further down here. Okay, that was in the right shape, but it's also quite strong shadow underneath here that that really defines the arm, and it goes down like this. I love sketching actually, because it's it's like eating pizza. It's instant gratification, and then it becomes a little bit more stressful. Then it's like eating salmon and fish all day, salmon and broccoli. Yeah. But then again, the results becomes better. Okay, just keep on, yeah, knee, the arm, finger, arm, little finger, long finger, light here on the leg, thigh, there's a shadow under there. Comes in there. Boom, yeah. Okay, you get the point. Maybe all the way away. Okay. So, as you see, I've come a little bit further, and I'm now starting to build what's around here, and I put on the whites first to build up the room. Now there's a lot of bluish in this, so what's two? I have to try to keep it down a little bit. Of course, if I didn't go over with a grounding, I could actually just go from the white, but I prefer to. I know it's going to be light areas here, but I prefer to use this whole umber layer anyway, because it gives me more oversight over where I'm going to go. foot is over here, I guess, and there's a shadow coming over everything. So, to go deeper. Then behind the legs it's getting darker, more bluish. So a lot of nice details in the wall behind her. We'll start explaining the room after a while. So and here's a pillow, and there's some flowers on it, like I talked about. It's flowers that I have over my shoulder. It's going to be fun to work with. I have no idea how detailed it will be, but try to make an impression of them. But first I have to get the whole thing going. And the same goes for the rest of the room. There's more bluish behind here because it's different kind of cements. And there's this down here. So if you've seen my videos, you know how this goes. Anyway, so I'm just going to go over the whole thing now, and I'm going to go back to the detail, so it's getting more interesting. Okay. So here I am. First sketch is finished, almost, and actually at 8 in the morning, and I guess I need some sleep soon. Never get enough sleep, it's so annoying. And sleep is very important because when you use your brain like this, it's really on overdrive and it needs to relax. I also go to the gym and train some taekwondo, so in my age I need to restitute or restituer, as it's called in French. See, let it dry for a couple of days, and then I put down the second layer. Then I actually start doing the details, and it's not really one layer, it's just starting molding it. Yeah. Okay. It's quite time consuming actually when you start getting into more detail. It's quite small, so I can't really draw every flower, but I'll try my best to give a good impression of it. When I make small things like this, it reminds me of the smaller paintings of Vermeer and classics. It was a nice feeling to work in this way. And it's a format that is easier to sell, and you know, we need to make a living, so almost planning a exhibition. Is 70.70 centimeters. Usually when I do sizes like this, it's single portraits or landscapes, still lifes, stuff like that. But I wanna start doing this smaller paintings too. I have actually 26 big ones I'm working on at the same time, so it's quite a challenge. There's a yellow rose actually laying here, and there is a rose here. There's a white one over there, so I just have to mark where they are. Just go here. Okay. I actually don't like the word kind of. I use it a lot and it annoys me because kind of, or somewhat, or as if, or it's a nonsense word. I mean, things aren't, they are or not. Anyway, but it's hard to avoid it because it's so ingrained into our language. So I keep on hearing myself saying it. It's fucking annoying. Okay. Now, I think I need a break. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can also use the tip on it. It's very thick with color here now, so I can actually make the color yeah, it was actually dried, so anyway, I want to stop. There's points of light here, here. So, but I guess I have to get back to that. So, I say so, and then I just continue. It's very typical. You get into the flow, and you don't want to let it go. Yeah, okay. Let's come out. Just going to show you a little bit of the sketches, of the sketch. Sorry. You can see how I have built the brush strokes in the first griselle. See the light, how thick it is, and it kind of, and the palette I painted here. Yeah, so and there's a hanger for clothes that I will do more detailed later. It's quite nice to do something this small, and it's the same process in a way. It's just, yeah. So with this now, I beg you a fine farewell, and the next levels would continue. So, here we are again. Now, second layer, I start with the usual wash, some bluish, reddish. Go over the whole canvas to give it some light and to get some oil and lasure into it. I keep the color very clean because I don't want it to become mush or dirt out of it. I'm just going to bring out some texture and nuances. Everything is washed away or absorbed into the new layer of color I put on anyway. So I guess, and I try to keep it warm, like warmish blue, because I can always turn it back to be more cold. I want to work several hours with shapes here today, so I'm just gonna go over the parts I'm gonna be sure I'm gonna paint on. So, okay, now it gets a deeper hue. I had some retouché furnace on it first and let that dry. So some of the colors now are actually melting into that retouché furnace. Seems a little bit brutal, probably, but that doesn't matter. So, okay, then I do as I just put on some more lights. I start with bringing lights out first, again, so I have the starting point. But now it's more focused. When I'm sketching, isn't that focused? I just try to get the proportions as right as I can. And it's actually now I'm starting to do the more focused painting. Start bringing it up. And for every layer, for every time you start over, it becomes a little bit more difficult. See now that the color, this is greenish, or it's the lemon yellow, but since there are now some blue in the varnish and in the here, and blue and reddish in it, it kind of absorbs into the color and gives it kind of blend the color on the canvas instead of blending it on the, you know, it just melts in. It's I've seen it in Vermeer's paintings, that he almost gone over so subtle that it's almost having this aquarelle kind of feel to it. It's very nice. So you can learn a lot by not looking at the motifs of painters necessarily, but look at how they painted. How, not why. Why did Rembrandt paint? Well, he probably liked it, and it was his livelihood. And his work accidentally gave us greatness. People ask too much why. Ask how. And there's a subtle white. Oh. All these thin layers now, kind of melting into one another. Okay. So it gets for every layer we'll get a more natural feel to it. There's a shadow up here, so I'll put some red into the blue, right, into the green, the greenish. Red and green are complementary colors, and the shadows are a mixture of those two. And you can observe that in nature. If you look at a cloud, you can see that the cloud is this warm red orange in the highlights, and the shadows are bluish or bluish grey, a mix of those two colors. The complementary and the other one. Yeah. Let's see. The direction here goes kind of over, so I have to observe that in the right way. Observe. Scraping it away again. There. Yeah. Get a little bit closer. See how the light pops out now? There's some textures under there now. And I can just build on it. Get it back out. It's funny how the eyes are working, because sometimes we take things that are, say you are looking at a tree in nature and the sun is shining on the tree and your brain are saying green, but your eyes, if you train your eyes, you will actually see no, the leaves aren't green, they are kind of reddish or orange. They look green, but in the highlights, the light that is reflected from them is the red or the warm light. The actual green are in the shadows. So you have to find a way to make green without being green. So make an illusion of. So you have to go, yeah, I have to try doing it, but as I said, we misunderstand colors, we misunderstand shapes, we are very often painting symbols. Like me, I like girls with broad hips, And if I have a model with broad hips, I will kind of paint them broader than they are, because that's my bias. That is what I like. And you know, am I that fat? Oh, darling, I wish you were. Yeah. Talking and painting, not a good idea. Anyway, see you later. So, here's my palette. A nice woman, a Facebook friend, that saw my videos looking at my videos on YouTube, asked me if I could show how I use my palette, and I'm going to give it a try. The problem is that I did a test, and when I know that the camera is looking at me, it's like people watching me paint, so it's gonna be a little bit unnatural. But if you see what I do, I just do like this, and I grab a new color, and then I'm actually working with a very small face, so I'm using these small brushes right now. You can also see how I'm setting up all the colors. It's always the same rhythm. If you change that, you're gonna confuse your brain. You're gonna have big problems getting into the painting. It's like moving the keyboards or tangents on the piano. And I'm painting quite dry, actually. I don't use so much oil in the paints when I'm painting. I just kind of go back and forth. And I just dip it, I just do like this, take off the color, and then some of the oil gets into okay, sometimes I take, if I'm going to have a thin lasure, as it's called, I can do like this, and maybe put some red into it, and let it, but that is usually in the end of the process, because and what I do before I start on the new layer to get some oil on the canvas. I also do that, I put the oil on the canvas, lasure, with the blue and the reddish, totally clean, so I get the oil into the color that way. Thing is, when you paint, you usually get into this deep flow. Right now it's talking to you guys, it's kind of hard to do it, but I want to do this for a little while, and then I'm gonna turn it off, keep on painting, and I'm gonna come back to it when I'm doing bigger surfaces, because then I work much faster. You have to find your own way. I like to hold it like this, and some people like to hold it like this, but I think it's the right weight, and my finger is supporting it under there, and I have a good grip, and I can move it around like this. It's a nice way to do it. You see, I'm kind of grabbing it. I'm using these brushes with some texture in, because they are also leaving some texture on the canvas. If I'm gonna have some light, I just take some white, grab the color, then I put it on, and I can take another color and I mix them on here, and then I also mix them together when I put them on the canvas. And to make a shadow, I grab the blue, and I should have had two cameras actually, one on the palette and one on the painting itself, so you can actually see both, but I have no idea how. I'm not a movie maker, I'm a painter, so if you get my point. But it's very hard for me to paint and talk at the same time. This is Prussian blue. It's very green. It's extremely green, almost like blueberry. If you have ever gotten blueberries, it's kind of bluish, greenish, extremely. There's an extreme. If you put some white into it, you can actually see that color is kind of greenish. So you put some reddish into it, and you can put some, and you get different colors, and that is how I do it. Everything I do I've learned by mistakes and by just painting, so no one has taught me anything. And I hope this might make it easier for you to evolve your own style. That is what happened. What I do is just what I do, and you have to find your own way. All painters, if you look at classical painting, worked in the same. If you look at Rembrandt and you look at even good abstract paintings are built up in the same way, in the textures and putting the colors beside one another. Yeah. So I just do like this. And also, there will also be a little bit of color left in the brush. So in a way, you're also mixing more colors together. Why? Because of this, and you're also getting the oil into it. So that is basically the secret of using a palette. There was a book, Norwegian book, I remember from when I started. It's called Blue Man. There's a boy, his name is Blue Man, and it's written by a Norwegian author called Jens Bjørneboe. And this boy who's coming to this artist's studio for the first time, and this artist putting up his first palette, and he hands him to explains how we should have the colors and which colors, and he hands it to him, and he says to him, "Blåmann, here's your first palette, and congratulations, you have a strange life before you." I just can't stop remembering that book, because it's true. If you really start loving painting, you will constantly meet yourself in the door in a way. You will meet your own limitations, and it will be a struggle. If you're an honest person, and if you are self-critical and not a pompous ass that think you are the world's best painter of the, you will have the kind of introspection that will leave you in a constant struggle. It'll bring you up and down and around and around. So, yeah. I used to be a welder, so strange that I'm a painter now. You see, that's how I use my oil. I just take it right off, because if you start doing this and mixing, it just becomes a mess. You lose control over it. Think of every brush stroke as a building block. A building block to almost like Lego. Every stroke is a building block. Anyway, I'm going to come back to you later when I'm using more bigger brushes. So, yeah. Yeah, I just thought I was going to give you a little feel of what I'm doing. Since this is a palette, you can actually see how I connect the dots and see how I use. You see the small, very small face, and I just go like this, and I kind of form it with a background. Then I go this way. It becomes a very intimate, really calms me down when I paint small things like this. Because you have to focus a hell of a lot more than if you're doing bigger parts of it or bigger paintings. So when you start to go into the details, it really gets hard. So, for me anyway. And sometimes if you keep painting and painting, you become quite blind and you really can't see anymore. You just paint in the dark in a way. Any painter has painted an experience that you can't really see anymore. See, I'm using my finger, my nail, so it's not smart to work here before you are going to work here, because then you're going to, like here, smear it all over. So it's best to choose where to. I see people use these wooden staffs and wooden, but I prefer my nail or my finger. And you can also use your finger. This girl has this beautiful face. Actually, she reminds me of Rihanna. And it's kind of an incentive to try to make it as beautiful as I can. I basically choose my models, the ones who doesn't pay for commissioned work, from purely aesthetic reasons. And there's a reason for that. Pretty objects are inspiring, period. If I choose to paint a brick or something in nature, something I find, piece of wood, anything, it's never any piece of wood or any brick, it's the brick or the onion or the apple. I don't go into the store and I just choose any apple, if you know what I mean. People looking strange at me and seeing me standing there trying to find the right apple. For heaven's sake, what is he doing? Is he just going to eat it? You know? Is he neurotic? Is he scared of germs? Oh, it's so small. Drives me nuts. And it's so nice to work with. I'm going to start to do most of my paintings. Is always a big, but I'm going to start to also make series of these small things. I also use this thin synthetic pencils for the extreme details. Because the war brushes usually is very good most of the time, but they tend to become too small when it comes to... You can actually buy sablon brushes, and they are really good, but they are fucking expensive. And they get ruined so fast when you are using them for oil paint. So... Okay, I'm gonna stop now because I need to concentrate. I'm working with this exhibition. I have a little bit over a week left to work, and get into this flow. I'm working 24/7. I just sleep and work, and I even forget to eat. So it's a good way to get rid of some fat. Of course, I need to lose like 6 or 8 kilos. So it's a good thing. Anyway, I think you get my point. You can see now that can't stop. It's a little bit too high here. She needs more. Yeah. And when you're gonna, if you see eyes in there, yeah, no, not too much, too much. Something like that. Well, I need to concentrate. Yeah. There we are. See? Oh, that's no. Okay. Now see. Almost. So, I've been working hours on end on this face, which I basically screwed up and then had to fix again, and what was going to take me 2, maybe 3 hours took me 6 or 7 hours, because when you start fucking up you have to walk back the cat, as it's called, and try to save it and then let it dry until next time. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. Just going to go over the surroundings in the painting and for a couple of hours. I'm going to watch the last episode of Game of Thrones, episode 8, and I'm looking forward to that, having some food and enjoying some, yeah, let's see, adventure, war. The thing with Game of Thrones is it's so realistic, and it has all this magic. I'm an atheist and an anti-theist, but I have no problem in accepting all this magic in that series. So it seems so natural, which means it's a good series. Probably one of the best. Anyway, you see how I start to, when I work now, I work quicker, I grab colors, and I move around. because now I'm working on the background and I have kind of a more quicker dialogue, building up the textures. That is what I enjoy with some of Vermeer's paintings, all the detail, all the kind of fluid painting. Right now I'm working on this white wall, so just putting on the basic texture. So, and it's in bluish, so I use different kinds of blue, and I just can grab some white, and I put it on, because then you build up this clay-like or brick-like feeling. You kind of crisscross build. You shouldn't, yeah. I can say this to people over and over again on my Facebook page when they post paintings there, that you have to differentiate the different textures from each other. The cloth and the skin are two totally different physical entities, and you have to feel how it is now. Okay. So you see, I'm just, if I now, a dress is extremely yellow, so I just grab it. You see what I do? I just whoosh, grab it. So it's kind of different ways of using the color for everything you're going to paint, and that's how you become a better painter. I know painters that are much better than me, for heaven's sake. I don't say that, but the thing is, if you're going to become a better painter, you have to learn how to use the brush and the palette. You just grab it, and you want light, you can't do like this, because then it dies. The colors has to be kind of, I hate that word. They have to be inside, in a way. If you see inside the strokes, and you just put it on, and you can let it dry when you have some nice strokes, and you have gotten that glow. You let it dry, and you mold on top of that next time. So you then gradually build up this different textures in a different object in the painting. Some objects are very distant and you keep them low. Some objects are near, skin is soft, but everything has its own texture. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. This video about my palette. I want to show you what I mean. So, if you see, well, it was very dark. I can see now. Maybe you can press this one. No. Well, anyway, it's very dark, I see, but this is what I mean. I build the textures, the different. Yeah, it was very dark actually. Anyway, that's the thing I do. That's the face I was battling with for hours and hours. And it's very small, as you see, it's quite tiny. Anyway, thanks for watching. Yeah, okay. Well, I've been working for some hours now with this, and I got into trouble with the face, as I kind of predicted. But now I'm gonna do some, basically work around it a little bit to finish it, because it's like almost 9 in the morning, and starting to get tired. I was actually going to go over the whole piece tonight, but that didn't work out because I, as I said, got into trouble. I worked with the face, and it was kind of nice, and then I thought, oh, maybe if I do this or do that, or start to touch it again, and then boom, lost. And then I worked for like, I don't know how long, many hours extra, just to get it back to an acceptable level. And that's how it is to be a painter, I guess. Welcome to my world. Now I need to do some adjustments on the arms, and it's a mess after many hours of full of paint. Yeah, so where do I start? Yeah. Now, there is a very strong line here, so I'm just doing like this, and I go fetch some color, the right tone, and I start doing this to get that line, but not. Now all these small strokes is gonna removing the line, but I keep the line anyway. And then I can go back in again, and I can even focus it a little bit more by doing like this. I never learned to paint of anyone. I have done this by doing a lot of mistakes. So what you are getting from me now is years of experience and frustrations and mistakes, and you are getting it for free. Because I'm such a very fucking nice person. Or because I think it's nice to help people, and I think it's nice to maybe matter a little bit for some people, and if that is my thing in this life, or the only life I ever will have, it is to help people become a little bit better painters, bring a little bit joy into the world, into this world full of Paradise Hotel and all that bullshit. Sometimes when I'm at the gym and they have these TVs on, I have to watch this fucking bullshit. It's like I have an imaginary gun in my head and just shooting the TV. So much shit, so much wasted time. There's so much good stuff. I mean, science, documentaries, there are some good movies, there are some good series, but people are wasting their time on this horrible bullshit. Summers, I would say, tacitly wasting your time by watching the same movie for the 5th time. And then wondering, when we get old, we wonder why, what happened to my time? Oh, you watched 2,000 episodes of some idiotic sitcom or something that gave you absolutely nothing. Yeah, what's this Orlando shooting yesterday? It was predictable. I actually told my father I was pretty sure that would happen soon, and also expected to happen in Norway at some point. We already had that mad Norwegian shot up all the people on the island, Bering Breivik. I was a couple of minutes away from getting that bomb right in my face. So I was lucky that day, I guess. I don't know such a thing as luck. I simply wasn't at a spot. So I guess the jihadists probably handed Trump the election. That's going to be an interesting presidency. This will become a very beautiful painting. I just see it. It is... What? I have to... use the time. Actually, I have been spending way too much time on... I have so much good material, so many still lifes and self-portraits, and I have so many things I want to paint. I have a whole exhibition and several exhibitions in my head. And right now I'm just working on one of them, and yeah, what's the point here? But yeah, but I usually paint so big. And I notice now when I paint smaller, then I get a different kind of intimacy. So I'm going to do more of those. So, yeah. Maybe I should start streaming. Okay, you see what I mean? Kind of build. Kind of. I hate that. Just work like this, and then going in. First I drag it down, get it right. Then I go in and I do like this. You want lines, but not real lines. Okay. And if you're going to have some lines, it has to be like if you look at the drawings of Leonardo da Vinci or any of the masters, they will have some lines, maybe a line going down there that kind of pushes and strengthens the shape. Okay. After this I'm going to watch the last episode of Game of Thrones. I'm going to enjoy myself eating some food. Chicken with the vegetables and a berry smoothie. Give myself good food so when I sleep my brain has the nutrition to connect my neurons, and tomorrow I will wake up and be a better painter. That is what happens. Eat the right foods, do exercise, and don't drink too much alcohol, and get enough sleep, because it's when I'm painting all night, I'm going to sleep, my brain is actually creating new connections in my head. If I did something, so it kind of builds when it rests. So that's why you wanna sleep enough and get the right nutrition. Okay. It became quite nice, actually. I'm starting to like it. Am I allowed to say that? I'm just going to focus a little bit on the textures, so you can see that the face is becoming quite nice. I can see the colors are a little bit more vivid in the camera, but see how loose it is now? I have to work with all these details. Anyway, we will get more of this. So now I'm doing a touch-up on the face, which is quite difficult because there's so little that you can do some mistake. It's really not much that stands between hours of repair or damage. So I'm using the smallest pencil I have, and it's really scary work, because I tend to walk around like a wolf, circling its prey before I start on stuff like this, because it's so, you have to concentrate yourself so much to get it right. Don't kill it, don't overdo it, too many don'ts. Her ear looked more like an elf's ear, and I didn't like that. Just have to kind of fix it. Kind of. Kind of. So... There are some small lights in here, that is blue light, and I really like details like kind of the curls behind here. I work with stuff like that. The hair. I'm gonna start doing more of these smaller paintings because it's really, I have so many nice motifs that I haven't been able to use because I'm always painting so big and it takes so much time. This also takes a lot of time, but it's not as time consuming as detailed pictures in like 2.2 meter size. So that's a good thing. The ear has to become better. So, and to get it more down to shadow. And then I'm gonna take it up again. This is where I was asked, I told in a video that I sometimes use the colors like aquarelle. I put on some very transparent oils now, and then I go in and I lifts it up again like this. And of course you need a highlight because there's a highlight on top. And in the highlight you can see there is some bluish light like the other. So I go in and yeah. There's also a highlight. It's really, it's a tough job. See now these layers are very thin. The important thing now is not to go too far. It's so easy to lose it and then you use so much time finding it again. Yeah. She actually looks a little bit to the side, but the point is to be able to get it right inside the eye, because we want to think it's white, but it isn't white. That's a symbol I have in my head. It's kind of reddish, and you see that's too much. Then it kind of changes to, then I have to go in with. This is the places I can use black more directly. So it changes the whole vision. And I have to get her to look to the side. And I guess I'm almost there. should also have these oh, killed it. Shit. And whoa. Well, I'm not sure actually. So this is why being a figurative painter is quite painful sometimes, because it takes nothing, literally nothing, to fuck it up, and then you have to, as I like to say, walk back the cat and try to find, well, on a distant, okay. And see, yeah, I'll do something here. It's really dangerous. Oh, I hate it when I lose stuff and things suddenly turn to shit. And nobody except me sees the difference. Well, she has high cheekbones, so yeah. So instead of making this deeper, I can go in and lift this a little bit up. So it kind of creates that. And there's a little bit more bluish in it, so it turns into the green or green. I also use the back, and I can basically use anything if it's a scissor to kind of pull the light back in. And then I just yeah, there we are. I think. I've been working like 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours a night lately, and I really start to feel that my eyes could need a small vacation, to put it mildly, but I can have that in 3 days, 3 or 4 days. I'm finished, have to be finished. So yeah, okay, let's see how I do it. Just use your fingers, you can use your nails. I usually have a nail hair that I use. So many things you can do. They say Turner used his hands a lot when he was painting. A little bit on the lips. I'm almost scared of touching it because it is nice, but it's not really all the way where I want it to be, but then again, too much. Well, if I have this one, I need one. There's a lot of science to this actually, or logic. So, let's see. Is that good? Maybe. So what you actually do is that you can take, first you put on some darkness, some laser, and then you can pull it back up again. And what happens is that it gets more natural feel to it. You can also do like Rembrandt, and they make Grisels, and they want painting very thin on top of the white, so the white is transparent through the color. That's also a possibility, which one should use. Now there is a little blue line right there, a light coming from, okay, where does it come from? Well, it probably comes from there, and it hits, you know, there's a light there, so the light hits in the dark here. Yeah, but also, actually it's more down, so I did a small mistake there. Do it again, try again. Don't give up. Ah, well, then I can go in and get that line back. And voila! Nobody ever taught me these things, so I just had to figure it out myself. And I think it's a good thing, in a way. For me, anyway. Okay, I'm not gonna... I need to paint on this when I'm not talking and not having this fucking camera standing in between me and the painting. So I'm gonna hang up. You see, it's getting quite natural. She's a beautiful girl, so she's a perfect face. Totally crazy personality. Let's laugh. Real warrior. Okay. It's so hard to tear myself away from it. I will soon put out a full video of this so you can see the whole process. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be a long night. I can see that now. Okie dokie. So 4 hours went into this phase, and I've been fighting back and forth and back and forth, and been really fighting. Now I can see that yellows and blues are very vivid here, but in real life they are more harmonious. But I really felt that I managed to reach something nice. And not often I say that about my own paintings, because I'm very critical to what I do, and it's also the only way to go, because if you become too content, you will actually stop evolving. So yeah. So yeah, see you later. So yeah, now it's the hand that is driving me nuts. Then I have to do the foot, which also is gonna drive me crazy, because all the details are just so difficult to work with. Maybe I should just move on and do something else. Anyway, so no. I just took a break and saw the last episode 9 of Game of Thrones. Shit, that was amazing. Bloodbath. Anyway, as you can see, it's getting quite nice. I think so. I have to work around with all the things, but I'm going to keep that a little bit looser. Loose, not looser, like in looser. Yeah, you know what I mean. Loose. That is because if you do that, you actually will not take too much attention away from the main theme, which is the face here in this painting, face and the light that is right around here. Been standing here now for basically 8 hours, going back and forth. And that's kind of the beauty of it, because when you don't use any tracing, or don't use any tools, you have to correct. A woman asked me, actually this woman bought my Muhammad picture, my Muhammad painting. She asked me, she hadn't seen me correct anything in some of my videos, and in any of my videos. And it's not really true, because if you look at when I'm painting, unless I do some really big mistakes, that's the only thing I do, correct things. Like now, I thought the shoulder were a little bit, but then I realized that it wasn't. It was just my brain fucking with me. So now I have to walk it back, because I have to see this compared to. So I do that all the time. I go back and forth, and I just move this arm from here up to there, I just moved the leg higher to get. I had to move this one up. I have to. So that's the only thing I do actually all the time. I just keep on moving things around until I reach the point where I feel it actually well, not 100% correct compared to the photo I use, but at least quite close to it. So that's what I do. Now I move this one a little bit down, and now I see that I have to, since I thought that the shoulder was higher, I have to move this one down again. Okay. And I also have to move this down again. So this is what I do. I keep on molding and molding and molding, and the nice thing is that all this overpaint, all this correcting gives it more power. It gives it more personality and gives it more of my subject into the painting. People who I see, there are people who are really good painters, but they are, well, the ones who are using projector, that to me that's cheating. And for them it's probably not the paint anyway that stands in center. It's more like, it's more the motif. And I'm not impressed by paintings who are done from, I said that before, so. But anyway, some are very technically good and they get it very perfect fast. I'm not that technically good. I've just learned a way to do it by myself, and so my way is to keep on correcting it until I feel, and all this I think gives it the painting, that gives it more life, more 3D, more me, more personality. Because that's what you do when you are painting. You are handing your personality over to the canvas. And I guess if you're not an honest person, if you're not an honest painter, I think that one will be able to see that in the lack of struggle. You know, you look at the best things of Turner or these people, extreme battle. Even Edvard Munch, the first 40 years of his life, beautiful paintings. For the last 40, too much sketch. And when I look at, well, after Sick Girl and these, the most famous ones, I don't care about the Scream anyway, because I think it's the most overrated painting in the world. And it must be the most talked about hangover ever. You know, I had delirium from drinking, and I'm not impressed by it. It's not a good painting. It's just a lot of quick colors, and I don't give a shit about that painting. So But if you look at his production when he was younger, more of a painter, was struggling more, overpainting. It's beautiful. Sick Girl. It's in the National Gallery in Norway, and I be coming back and looked at it again and again and again and again and again. It never gets boring. So that's why. Actually, the first time I saw it, I didn't like it because it was so crudely painted. Because I was a shallow person. I didn't see the depth of it then. And you have to train your eyes actually to be. You have to open your mind, open your brain to see texture, see the personality of the painter and the texture and the paint. Most people only look at the motif and they don't really see most of what's important. And it's sad because they are they miss the most important things. Also, if you look at Van Gogh, the way he used color and the way the extreme battle with the colors, it's just amazing. But you have to see them in real life because you can't really photograph those paintings. It's impossible. You don't get the physical presence. And also I noticed that many of the good figurative painters that are working today, they look very nice in photographs, but you see them in reality and it's very good technically, but it's dead, flat. There's no zest to it, there's no power, so I like paintings that are really, 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 really painted. So, yeah. So, now, I moved this a little bit, so I have to give it more, some light here. Because I have to move this one too. That's the thing, my sketches are quite crude, so I have to do all this over paint. I wish actually that people knew more and had the capability to see through more bullshit, because there's a lot of bullshit in art. Most conceptual art are just boring art babble. But they don't. They're also way too easy to impress. So if people were more conscious of themselves and the processes, they would be more critical and also raise the stakes for the artists. I'm so tired of artists standing there babbling about their self-importance. Anyway, yapping for long enough. Probably the garbage guys. Can you hear them outside? Let me see. Let me see. Okay. It's kind of lovely to work with it when it's so small. Oops, see? Oh. Why do you make videos? Why does the dog lick his balls? Because he can. As Bill Higgs said, a comedian, he said, if I could suck my own dick, you women would sit here in an empty theater looking at an empty stage. Why do we do anything? That's a good question. I think I want to make a self-portrait and talk about life and other shit. And I'm gonna make a video of when I'm painting a girl I fell in love with 3 years ago. And a horrible situation that turned out to be. And talk about life, love and friendship and basically everything. So, okay. Yep, here you can see the finished painting, and thank you for watching this video. I hope that you can give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and you can also ask questions. If you want to have me as a mentor, you can go to PATRON and sign up for $1 or $5 or $15 or whatever you like. You can see the tiers there, and I hope to see you in the next video and on Patreon. So, stay cool until next time. See you in the next video.